What is up, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Tuesdays with Turbo. I got a this is something we haven't done in a while. Usually, going back a few months, I kind of had a schedule of we did the hats off with Turbo, where we would look at different professions and see what kind of coverages they should carry. Usually, always tried to do a home one, always tried to do an auto one, and then we did the trivia. And the trivia's kind of gone by the wayside, so I figured this would be the perfect time to do an auto trivia, kind of based on fall winter type things. And I also want I wanted to do this for a reason, because there's a coverage that a lot of people don't really put a whole lot of thought into. So we're going to get into that. We're going to see kind of a recurring theme here with our questions. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself. For those that do not know, my name is Ryan Turbo Jackson, and I am your insurance resource. And let's be honest, with the rising costs of everything today, your insurance is pretty much the same. So why not know what you're buying? And that's what we like to do here. I like to educate folks on their policies, coverages, endorsements, all of that stuff, so you are a better educated consumer. That being said, if you guys and gals have any questions whatsoever, I will put my how to contact me direct at the end of the show. So kind of hang out for that. But if you have any questions while we're doing the live, please feel free to drop the question in the chat, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, and I will get you. I will answer it the best I can. And if I don't have an answer, I will find one and get back with you. So as we know, especially living here in Michigan, we're getting to that point in time where it seems like everyone forgets how to drive in the winter. It happens every single year. I don't know why, but it does. And these are going to be it's not going to be a how-to drive, but while we're out there, while all the elements are beating down on us, let's take a look back at our auto policy and see what, if anything, would be covered if something like this were to happen. Now, I will preface this with, all of the questions today are assuming you have comprehensive and collision on your vehicle. Now, if you don't have comprehensive or collision and just liability only, none of these are really going to apply to you. But it would be kind of a good refresher to, if you're not in the situation where your vehicle needs that or you want that, and in the future you upgrade your vehicle or whatnot, and this would kind of be a good time to be like, okay, if I had this coverage, and this happened, there would be some coverage there. And let's keep in mind deductibles too. Okay, so with that little disclaimer at hand, we're going to be playing claims and games. And to be honest with you, I've been looking for some kind of like some trivia music or whatever, but it seems like every time I put music on whether it's royalty free or anything, Facebook flags it. So I just said the heck with the music, even though everything I put on here is royalty free. But I digress. It's beyond me. So let's get started with question 1. This is our fall auto insurance quiz. When cruising through colorful Michigan back roads, when a tree branch drops on your hood during a fall storm, which coverage helps pay for the repairs? Liability, collision, comprehensive, or the ever popular leaf blower clause? And of course, the answer is comprehensive. And you might be asking yourself, why? Something hit the vehicle. Why wouldn't it be collision? Well, it's a falling object that lands on your vehicle. Now, which is by all means comprehensive. Now, if that tree were standing and you hit it, then it would be collision. Same tree, just a different circumstance. So that's why that's comprehensive and not collision. Question 2. Your car slides on black ice and ends up kissing a mailbox. Which coverage steps in to cover the damage to your car? Now, we'll talk about the coverage for the mailbox afterwards, but that's kind of a little bonus question here. A, liability, B, collision, C, comprehensive, or D, winter tire warranty. And it's kind of getting back to the question previous, where this is something that's standing there, your vehicle hits it, it's collision. Now, I mentioned coverage with the mailbox. Now, all in all, a mailbox isn't that, at least most mailboxes, it's not a costly fix. But if the homeowner did want some coverage there, the property damage on your auto policy would help cover that. Or just pay it directly out of pocket. It's completely up to you. But like I said, some folks do have some ornate mailboxes now. And instead of the $30-$40 fix, it's a couple hundred. Then I can kind of see a claim situation. And yes, that your policy would cover not only the to get your vehicle fixed, but to repair or replace the person's mailbox. So question 3. A deer decides to play Frogger across I-94 and you lose that game. And ultimately the deer does too. Which coverage saves your bumper to your car? Liability, collision, comprehensive, or the Deer Whisperer package? And here the answer is comprehensive yet again. Now you might be saying, well, Ryan, you said if you collide with something, that's collision. Well, when it comes to animals, it's kind of I've heard it be explained like an act of God, where it's something you can't control. So when it comes to animals, animal v. deer is always considered comprehensive. And even though you're colliding with an animal, just because it's an animal, it's not another vehicle, it's not a tree, a house, a building, it's an animal. So any animal related claim is considered comprehensive. So question 4, and this is something I think all of us do, especially with most every car having remote start. Question 4, you let your car warm up in the driveway, but someone steals it while it's idling. Which coverage helps replace your car? And D should actually be Frostbite Fund, not Deer Whisperer package. I did forget to update the slide there. But liability, collision, comprehensive, or Frostbite Fund. And again here, this is comprehensive. Now, some companies, when they're talking about collision and comprehensive, they refer to comprehensive as other than collision. And that kind of is very open-ended when you say other than collision, because you're assuming that anything that happens to the vehicle aside from a collision incident would be covered under other than collision. With that kind of open-endedness, some companies refer to it as comprehensive, some as other than collision. And in this case, the explanation of other than collision kind of works here, because it's theft. And comprehensive covers theft, vandalism, car v. deer, tree falling on it, limb falling on it, like we saw earlier, and glass breakage. So it covers a lot, whereas collision just covers hitting something. So keep that in mind. And then number 5, I also did forget to update option D here. But number 5, you're driving to a Lions game in December when your windshield cracks from a flying ice chunk. Which coverage helps cover the repair? A, liability, B, collision, C, comprehensive, and D should be Go Lions coverage. Which, if you watched the game last night, I think we all would thoroughly enjoy Go Lions coverage. But the answer here, again, is C, and I probably gave it away in my last example. But when it comes to glass itself, yes, it is comprehensive. It does fall under that other than collision tag. But here's the thing. When it comes to glass, have you priced out a windshield lately? They can be rather expensive, especially with the new vehicles where there's a lot of sensors and stuff inside the windshield itself. I remember growing up, it was like $100 to get a windshield replaced. Now, even with an older vehicle, which my wife and I both went through, um, we had to pay for one out of pocket because we had our our comprehensive coverage. The deductible was higher than what it was to actually replace it, so we had to take that one on the chin. But this kind of is leading me towards this overall, as you saw with most of the answers here, that it is comprehensive. And 9 times out of 10, when someone calls to get an auto quote, I ask what their deductibles are, and they'll say, "Well, 1,000." Okay, is that for both collision and comprehensive? I think so. I think so. And we've talked, at great lengths about the different types of collision coverage, so we won't get into that today. We're going to just focus on the comprehensive portion of this. But a lot of folks don't really take into account windshields and glass. And windshields and glass are upwards of $1,000 to get replaced, depending on the year, make, model of your vehicle. But in actuality, when you carry $100 comprehensive deductible, or a lot of companies will let you carry that $500 or $1,000 or comprehensive deductible, but you can elect to have $0 or a reduced deductible glass coverage. So if that's the case, reach out to your agent to see if that's something you're interested in. If that is an option. Like I said, most companies will let you carry that, for instance, $1,000 comprehensive deductible, but have a $0 glass or even a $50 glass, which, like I said, most of the windshields nowadays are quite expensive. So if it does cost $1,000 to replace your windshield and your deductible's $1,000, you got to come up with all of that out of your pocket because it doesn't exceed the deductible. And even if you have that $500 deductible and it's $1,000, you have to come up with the first $500 to get that replaced, and that's money out of your pocket. Where if we would take a look at lowering that deductible, or like I said, put the $0 glass coverage on it, it might raise your premium just a few dollars a month, so you don't have to worry about any of that out of pocket. And what I've come to realize, excuse me, is that the main coverages on your auto policy, the most expensive being the medical coverage, the second most expensive being the collision coverage. Then we get into the comprehensive. So you're talking about the third most expensive in the comprehensive coverage price-wise in comparison to the other two. There's quite a gap. There's quite a gap. So what I'm saying is reach out to your agent and see if there is a more affordable, even though it might be a little bit more expensive up front, especially with all of the when they're doing the roads and they put the stone down and then the tar. We always get we can pretty much set our watch to it as to how many windshield claims that we get. And it's a common occurrence, and 9 times out of 10, it's something you cannot avoid. It's completely not your fault. You're just following a vehicle in front of you, and they kick one of those up. Next thing you know, you have a big old crack in your windshield that in the summertime and in the wintertime, as it gets cold and warm, tends to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And a lot of times, and especially the ones that I've had, it's always right here where you can see it, and you can't, and it's just there. It's just there. So you're stuck with this. What starts out as annoying gets to cracking and spider webbing, and next thing you know, it's a big problem. So if you carry, like I said, that $0 glass or even a lower deductible, like $100, that you're coming up with a smaller amount out of pocket to take care of a more expensive, and keeps getting more and more expensive. And if you actually look at the receipt from whichever glass company you use, there's like a $250 recycling charge that goes into that. That's not even covering the cost of installation or the cost of the windshield and the cost to calibrate all the goodies that are in your windshield. And again, this comprehensive thing isn't just for glass. Like, and we talked about deer, we talked about theft, we talked about a tree limb falling on your hood. There's a lot of things that this comprehensive coverage that actually covers. And I'm not saying all people, but the vast majority of us are just like, comprehensive, don't need that. When in actuality, the vast majority of the claims fall under comprehensive. So take a peek at your policies, see what your comprehensive deductible is, and again, reach out to your agent to see if they have a $0 glass deductible that's available, or even a reduced deductible compared to the regular deductible, just to save you a few. It'll be a little bit more expensive up front, but in the long run, could you imagine $10 or $12 a month compared to $500 or even the full $1,000 out of pocket carrying these higher deductibles that don't have the glass endorsement on it? How many months could you go before you reach that $500 mark or that $1,000 mark? And I have a very good feeling, especially here in Michigan, where we don't repave anything anymore. It seems like it's just these, stones. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So that's my homework to you guys and gals this week, is to take a look at your policy, look at your deductibles, and if you have questions, reach out to your agent. And with that being said, if you would like me to take a look at your policies and what you currently have and see if I can't get you a better fit, maybe a better rate, go ahead and comment on this video. Send me a message directly on Facebook, or give the office a call, or here is my direct email. I'll give you a couple of seconds to screenshot that. And that is it. That is our fall/winter auto trivia. Let me know how you guys and gals did. I do apologize for not putting the funny answers on the last handful, but you kind of get the gist there. But let me know if there's anything I can do to help, or anything else or any other video ideas that you guys and gals might have. I'd be more than open to, because I guarantee if you have the question, there's a lot of other people that have that question too. So everyone have a great week, and I will see you next time.